Hello, and here we are again, live and ready to take your calls for this month's Action Time Challenge.
As usual, we're looking for your help, not your money, and the number to call is free call 0500 200 150. Free call means it won't cost you a penny to call that number for our latest project, which takes us this weekend to the Meadow Estate in North Tyneside. The Meadow Estate lies to the east of Newcastle at North Shields. It became notorious just 3 years ago when youths rioted following the deaths of 2 car thieves involved in a high-speed police chase. The disturbances resulted in the destruction of the Collingwood Youth Club, as well as a number of local business premises and houses. But since then, times have changed, and the people of Meadowell have got together to create a happier and safer environment. Just down the road there, a building that was burnt down during the riots is now taking shape, and here at Redford Gardens, the residents of the surrounding streets have got together to create their own community centre. The centre's been established inside 2 council houses. Here the locals have set up community workshops and job training courses. It also functions as a drop-in centre and provides other facilities like a creche and a youth club. It's run by the local residents who have formed a community care association, which will soon have managerial control of 200 houses. They contacted Action Time for help to transform the centre's surrounding land, which over the years has become a bit of an eyesore. So for this month's Action Time project, we're going to tidy this up and cart it all away and transform this whole area into a safe playground for kids. There's obviously a crying need for it. What's in Meadowell at the moment for kids?
Nothing whatsoever.
So what do you hope this area will do for them?
Well, I think it'll be essential for the whole estate, somewhere for them to play instead of roaming the streets, getting bored at night times.
Right. Why do you think this playground's so essential?
Oh, we need it badly because there's just not another playground around here. You've got to walk miles for a playground, and I think it's a great idea. I do. The kids will love it.
It's a bit of a mess at the moment, but isn't it?
Oh, it's terrible. It's going to cost a lot of money that to get done, but at the end of the day, it'll pay. It'll definitely pay, like, for the children.
The area is split into 2 parts. This side is going to be a typical children's playground, so we're going to need all the obvious equipment. Some swings, please, maybe a roundabout, a climbing frame, and some of that tree bark to provide some soft landing for the kids. Also, those porta cabins could do with a lick of paint. This side is a kick-around sort of area for football, other ball sports, so we're going to need an awful lot of tarmac. It's a big clean-up operation, so we're going to need at least 2 JCBs to turn over the land and a couple of skips to hold the rubbish. Once we've turned over the land, we're going to need at least 3,000 metres of turf, please, and somebody to lay it as well. If you can help, please call now. The designs were drawn up about 5 years ago by a company called Freeform, who bases themselves down at the riverside in North Shields. Freeform have helped transform a number of areas in North Tyneside, like their own headquarters at the Fish Quay. They're a charitable body employing professional artists and architects to help local communities improve their environments. So are these the plans that you have drawn up for the weekend?
No, these are the plans that we actually drew up some years ago with the residents. It was basically their ideas and what they would like to have seen in the play area. They asked us to include kickabout areas. And originally we wanted to use a proper rubber safety sort of surface, but it appears now that wouldn't be possible. But what we're looking for now is tarmac, obviously stuff to make the foundations underneath the tarmac, and also we'd like to put some sleepers up at the back which would stop balls rolling away into the areas where other children are playing. This is photographs from play equipment catalogues of the sort of things that the residents were looking for. Little roundabouts and spring toys, which are smaller children especially like. We want to close off the area a little bit to make it safer to play in. So we drew up several ideas for gates, and this seems to be the one that's preferred. And so we're looking for people who can help us with steel work and also with the supply of steel to build this gate. And the idea is that these will be cutouts that we'll make up with the children. We'll actually get kids to lay on bits of paper and cut the shapes of them playing out, and then use those to cut steel to put onto the gate framework. Surrounding the whole area is a big grey galvanised steel fence, which is very effective but is a little bit drab for inside a play area, so to brighten that up and to carry the idea on of the cutouts in the gates and to cutouts for the fence. So again, it's kids playing cut out onto steel, which will then work with the kids to paint up, and the kids will have fun painting it, and then we'll fix it onto the fence afterwards.
So here's a great opportunity for you to help improve play facilities for the children of the estate. We also need a car parking area just inside the gateway, so any donations of help or materials will be very welcome. Don't forget the project happens this weekend. Pledge your support. Call now.
Well, OK, so the number to ring is 0500 200 115. Now, don't forget, it's a free call number, so it won't cost you a penny to get involved. Now, because there's such a lot of work to do, we've decided to make a long weekend of it by starting at 8 o'clock on Friday morning and working through to the end of Sunday afternoon. So if you can help out or on any or all of those days, please, it'd be wonderful to hear from you. Now, obviously, the key to the success of this project is the donation of playground equipment. I know it's expensive stuff, but if any of you know how we can lay our hands on some, please give us a call.
The lady from Redford Gardens who contacted Action Time to tell us about this project was Kath Thompson, the chairwoman of the Community Care Association. The play park was a dream she'd been working on for a number of years. Sadly, a few weeks ago, Kath developed a brain tumour and died just a few days before we filmed our appeal. The residents of the estate would like to dedicate the play area to Kath's memory and would be very grateful for your help. Now let's see how we got on with one of last month's challenges when we set out to help the children of Lynham Farm. Now let's see how we got on with last month's project on the Meadow estate in North Tyneside. If you remember, it was a challenge sent to us by a lady called Kath Thompson. Sadly, Kath died just before our filming began, and the residents have dedicated this project to her memory. It's a fitting tribute to her tireless work to improve facilities for the people of the estate. The Meadowell estate in North Shields became notorious 3 years ago when youths rioted following the deaths of 2 young car thieves involved in a high-speed police chase. 50 metres from the seat of the riot, local residents have set up the Redford Gardens Community Care Association in 2 former council houses. Their aim is to improve facilities in the area, and they invited Action Time to help provide a safe play area for their children. The land surrounding the centre had been neglected and had become a bit of a dumping ground. It was a big project that would have to be tackled over a period of 3 days. Why do you think this playground's so essential?
Oh, we need it badly because there's just not enough playground around here. You've got to walk miles for a playground, and I think it's a great idea. I do. The kids will love it.
It's a bit of a mess at the moment, but isn't it?
Oh, it's terrible. It's going to cost a lot of money not to get done, but at the end of the day, it'll pay. It'll definitely pay, like, for the children.
The North Shields-based community arts company Northern Freeform, headed by Richard Broderick, designed many of the playground features, like the metal gates which would be cut out in steel and mark the entrance to the playground complex. Just inside the gateway, we also had plans for a new car park.
Work began at 8 a.m. on the first Friday in June. Landscape architects Glenn Kemp Hankinson had drawn up the plans for a tarmacked kickabout area as well as a circular playground.
This area again, we'll take the scrub off.
The land was cleared and reshaped by Helen's, the landscape construction company, who are currently working on the nearby housing development at the Royal Quays in North Shields. And of course, the residents themselves also got stuck in. However, within a few hours, we faced the problem of where to put all our donated materials.
Ideally, you want the materials to turn up when we want them. As you saw this morning, there's no areas to stockpile anything. And also, if you stockpile materials, you've got to pick them up and put them in dumpers. It's just going to slow everything up. The Community Association are dealing on that side. There's a lot of, we're still planning at the moment. Things seem to be making things up as we're going along, really. But I'm sure it'll all come together today.
Meanwhile, a few miles down the river at the Swan Hunter shipyards, our gates were being fabricated. The metal had only been donated that morning, and because swans were in receivership, the men who were on short time had to finish work at midday, so it was a race against time. The shapes of the children at play were being cut out of sheet metal, which had been donated by a company called BSD Steelstock in Blaydon. cutting was done underwater to prevent distortion from the heat of the torch. It was now 11:45.
We have to move the steel because Swans, unfortunately, because they're on short time at the moment, have to stop at 12 o'clock. So there's no one here left to weld it.
Who are we actually moving it to now?
We're moving it to a company called Pencher, which is in Felling, in Gateshead, which is just across the river.
What will they do to it?
They'll weld up the gates and all the bits that Swans have cut up for us and weld the pretty bits on the front.
So there's no problem in getting it finished then?
No, it's going to get finished.
So it's all going to plan?
I wouldn't say it was going to plan, but it's all going, definitely.
Meanwhile, back on the estate, the area just inside the gateway was being prepared for resurfacing to become a new car park. And our man from Helens was marking out the playground circle.
We done a survey and asked the residents what it was they wanted on this estate, and they said a park for the kids, for somewhere to go.
Have you been battling with the local authorities for a long time to try and get something sorted out?
A long time. Long time. Cass had many meetings going back to 1988 with local authority and other agencies for to get help with the park. And we've said that what they said is, yeah, it'll come in somewhere along the line. We've even been to City Challenge about it, and we're told we'll probably come into phase 2, which is like 1995. But I mean, you're talking about 7 years on after that, you know, I mean, that's no good. People are being promised that they're going to be getting a park and they're not. And at the end of the day, if it wasn't for Action Time, we wouldn't have it. We would not have this park now.
At 5:30 on Friday, we hit a major snag. We were 40 tonnes short of a sub-base material to go under the tarmac in the kickabout area, and we needed it first thing the following day.
I'm not going to laugh. I said I wouldn't. I didn't. Yeah, I'm sorry. Sean Wigley-Smith, right. He's the man, is he, that I need to speak to?
Sure enough, the following day, Mr. Wigley-Smith from Redlands came up with the goods, which we added to the 60 tonnes of sub-base donated by Tarmac. They also gave us the surface material, which was laid out by a company called Debmat Surfacing. The materials for the surrounding fence were provided by Goodman and Croggan, and it was installed by D&M Fencing from Blythe. Some people, however, had their doubts about the playground.
I think it should be the park, the football pitch on that side and the park on that side.
Why do you think that?
Because that side of the park won't be done by tomorrow.
Do you not think it's going to be done? Why not?
Because it's just loads of rubbish and that.
I think she had a point. It seemed we were fighting a losing battle with some of the residents.
Saturday was the day the playground was installed by Record Playgrounds from Selby. They had a lot of help from the locals and trainees from the North Shields Community Task Force. Record also donated a roundabout and seesaw, and the rest was purchased with money raised by the Community Association.
One of our volunteers who'd been unemployed for the last 6 months got a pleasant surprise.
I was just doing groundwork and seed here, you know, and one of the lads says, you're looking for work? Are you groundwork? I says, aye. He says, well, get yourself down to Royal Keys, 7:30 Monday morning. He says, I'll start you right away.
How do you feel about that?
Oh, I'm over the moon.
Brilliant. Oh, that's great. So Action Time's done more.
Oh, aye.
More than just help the bays this weekend.
That's right.
The whole project was a fantastic community effort, and as Saturday drew to a close, all the playground equipment had been installed.
How do you feel at the end of day 2, virtually?
Tired, but we've had a very good day. All the major work, the concrete work and what have you has been done today. All the heavy work, really. So tomorrow it's a matter of getting the place tidied up and make it look like a park. There's the play box to go into the play area, there's to ram. The whole area's got to be seeded.
You must be thrilled how many people have turned out, young and old.
Tremendous. They talk about people don't want work, but it's all the youngsters, sort of 17, 18-year-olds today. Put them to work doing work that they've never done before and left them to it. Tremendous.
like any of the projects that we aim to complete within 48 hours, there's always a problem with drying concrete or paint. The pillars of the gates still have to settle, and the tarmac on our kick-around area hasn't dried yet, so we can't play football yet. The turf didn't arrive, but we have sown some grass seed, and let's hope that as the grass grows along with the children, that this dream that has become reality will be forever preserved. But now methinks it's time that this playground was opened. Gaynor.
So kids, do you think it's about time this playground was well and truly open? What's the verdict? Yes! So, ready, steady, go! Yes!
What a great project and what a great weekend. Thanks to everybody who got involved in that project. So